We don't have anything major going on. And he turned to me and he said, Alden, that's your story. Your story is that you're doing this with a brand new baby, with a toddler. You're getting up every day, you're eating right, you're working out, and you're about to go back to school full time. And that's when it really hit me. He was right. That's what I needed to be sharing. I didn't need to focus on not having something big. I just needed to focus on my life and sharing that, and how anybody can do this. It didn't matter how old your kids were. It's just going and eliminating those excuses. And that's how I began sharing my story. And my slide here is just some of my favorite pictures that I've shared. So actually, for this slide, what is your story? I got all of these tips from a YouTube video that I watched from Coach Caleb. And I feel like I love Coach Caleb. He's one of my very favorite. He just makes me smile. But these tips really kind of hit it on the head. Share your struggles. Be brave. Share the obstacles that you have overcome. One thing that he said in his clip was, the more vulnerable you are, the more people that will relate to you. Because what we're doing when we're sharing our stories, we're trying to build that trust. We're showing that we are the product of the product, that we're doing this. We're not just showing pictures of people that we can't even tag because we don't know who they are. We're showing that these work for us. And that's where our challengers are going to come from, because we're building that trust with them. How did Beachbody come into your life? How did you make the transformation from the old you to the new you? And then also talk about your results, or the results you're about to get. Okay, so once you've figured out what your story is, then you want to, and my computer's, I'm sorry, you want to start writing your story. And I think that really starts by zoning in on your target audience. I know for me, my target audience are moms and busy people, because that's who I am. I am a mom and I am very busy. And I want, like I said before, I want to show people that you can do this no matter how much time you have in the day, or what excuses you have, just eliminating those excuses. So it's very important that you know who you're talking to. I know a few months ago in Jen's team page, Team Shine United, we did a little exercise where we had to write down things about us, maybe 6 to 10 things that when we thought of ourselves, these were adjectives or things that we thought of. Like something that Jen had mentioned was that she was a doggy mom. She was a music teacher, like examples like that. So for me, I'm a boy mom. I'm also a doggy mom. I'm a reader. I like music, those kind of things. And that's kind of how you're going to gear your posts to, or who you're going to be talking to. You also obviously want to be yourself. You don't want to talk to somebody, or not that you don't want to talk to someone. You don't want to gear your post to someone that's not you. I'm not going to attract a college student, so I'm not going to talk like that. I'm not going to talk about going out and getting a 6-pack as much for spring break as I would finding that mom, showing her that there's hope to get back into your regular jeans, plus maybe lose a few pant sizes like I did. You want to be you, and to brand yourself. And consistently on my page, I try to talk about being a mom, being a boy mom. I have a lot of pride in that. I love being a boy mom and getting to go out and play in the dirt and play soccer and play in the field, and getting to work out with them in ways that I know that girl moms don't get to experience, because they get to paint fingernails and play with makeup and do hair and all those things that I don't get to do as a mom. So, sorry, getting jumbled in my words. I told y'all this was going to happen. So, down at the bottom, there's a URL, and if you haven't done this yet, I really recommend that you take this quiz. It was a lot of help for me. It's a brain your self quiz, and when you take it, it's going to ask you a few questions, and then it's going to come back and give you some things like your brand words. For me, my brand was the hero, and it said to use words like strong and courageous, and it's really helping people overcome those obstacles that they are facing. It also gives you a strategy to think about how you're going to do your post and go about your brand. It helps you, tells you how to help your tribe, which is really good. So once you find your brand personality, how you can go and turn around and help your team or help your challengers. And then just because it's a little fun, it also gives you some mood colors and some font that they think would be really good for you to use. Okay, so when on my page, I kind of pretend that it is like my reality show. One of my biggest guilty pleasures are the Real Housewives. I love them all. I watch them all. So I kind of transform on my Facebook page as the Real Housewives of Gulfport. And, I like to pretend that people like to keep up with the Johnsons. And I really kind of narrate my page that way. When you're watching a reality show, you don't see everything about these people's lives. You just see little snippets of them, or breadcrumbing, if you would. And we just see like the highlights or the events and sometimes the struggles, and they're always, at least on the Housewives, narrating what they're saying. So when I'm doing my post, that's what I think about. What parts of my day would I like to share with people? What part of my life would I like to narrate for the people that are coming to my page, to show them that I'm a real person, to show them the highlights of my day. I also, when I'm posting, I like to post like I'm talking to a friend. A lot of times I try to overcome the objections that I get from the conversations that I have. And lately, the person that I've been talking to is this girl that I knew in high school, and we've talked for months and months on end, and she just won't commit for various reasons. Every time I talk to her, it's probably a different obstacle. So when I'm writing my post where I'm overcoming objections, I'm talking to her. And what I have found is that she keeps coming back because I'm attracting to her. I'm talking to her. She doesn't know that I'm talking to her on my post. She doesn't have a clue, but I'm kind of overcoming those objections. I also heard somewhere, and I use this a lot when I'm kind of going through my posts and how I'm trying to show my story on my Facebook page, is you want to talk to the person that you were before Beachbody. You want to talk to the person that you currently are because of Beachbody, and the person you will one day be because of Beachbody. All three of those people are watching you. They're people that relate to you, relate to who you were before Beachbody, relating to the person that you are now because of Beachbody, and the people that are the person that you will be one day because of Beachbody. And that's how you're going to attract your challengers, because they relate to you about that. We always talk about breadcrumbing. When I first became a coach, I had no clue what that meant. I didn't know what breadcrumbing was. And if this is your first call, or you've heard us talk about it but haven't really gotten the courage to ask what breadcrumbing is, all it is just giving your story in little snippets. It's not giving the whole novel or giving the whole chapter. It's just giving maybe a page of the story or a paragraph of the story, a little bit at a time, to write that and to share your story, to write that for the people that are watching your page. When I'm doing a post, because, guys, we're posting 3 to 5 times a day. Sometimes I sit there and I'm like, okay, I got nothing. This has been a boring day. We have done nothing. I have nothing I can post that will be meaningful for anyone or that anybody will care about. What am I going to do? So what I do is I think about my day and think, okay, how can I relate this to the program that I'm doing? How can I relate this to the personal development that I'm doing? How can I relate this to the challenge groups that I'm doing or coaching? I actually got this from Jamie Guthrie. I was talking to Jen one night, and she kind of mentioned this, and so this is his brilliance coming through. I kind of stole his idea and ran with it. But one example of this is yesterday, my family and I were working out in the yard, and that was my day. I didn't work out. I didn't really eat anything. I did, bad or good that I could share. I didn't have anything. So I kind of took that we were working in the yard and worked it around my challenge groups and my personal development, and talked about how, it took longer than we wanted it to, but because we didn't give up, now we have this beautiful finished product where if we had given up, we wouldn't our yard would still be the hot mess that it still kind of sort of is, but it's a little bit of an improvement. And related that to the fitness programs that a lot of times I see challengers who give up. And that's, just a little tip of how to share your story when you're having one of those days that you just don't have anything. And with all of my posts, I give it the who cares test. Before I post, I look at it and I say, you know what? Would I stop scrolling? If someone else was posting this, would I stop scrolling if I saw this image? Would I read the post? And if I did read it, would I like it? Would I love it? Would I comment on it? Would I laugh at it? Does anybody care? And, I find that the posts that I do give this test on and I pass it and I don't just post really quickly to get my 3 to 5 up, those are the ones that I get the most traction on. And those are the ones that I get people who send me messages and say, you know what, you really inspired me with that. Thank you for sharing that with me. Because if I don't even care about what I'm really posting, then I know that the people that are following me won't either. So those are just a little bit of my tips about sharing my story. I appreciate y'all listening to me ramble. I hope that y'all got something good out of it. And Val, I will hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Alden. You guys hear me? Am I good still? Okay. I love that, and it's perfect example, and I know Kelly would have talked about pretty much the same thing, because success leaves clues. Successful coaches, successful entrepreneurs, really in any business, their success comes from relationships and talking to a certain person. And the 3 people, I loved how you mentioned that, because that is so true. You're talking to 3 different people in the way you compose your posts. And this does not mean that you have to be some crazy great writer or storyteller right away. I didn't know my story either. And another great thing that Alden pointed out, we all don't think we have a story when we start this business. We just don't. And then once we kind of start to figure out our story, it kind of goes, at least it did for me. I'm like, well, my story doesn't stand out from anybody else's. Like, who am I really? I'm a mom. I'm this person. I'm that person. Well, your story is you, and it's who you're becoming. My story way back whenever I started is completely different now 3 years later, and yours will be too. But you matter. Your life now, your transformation, Alden's story is perfect. You had a transformation. You couldn't believe that you didn't have to live with a stomachache every day. That was like a thing that, green light that went on in my head too whenever I first started. Because I was like, oh my gosh, like eating right makes me feel better. It's crazy. Hey, Alden, what is like one major aha moment that you've had in this last year? And I think it's so cool that it's your 1-year anniversary. Like, that is so cool. Happy anniversary. But like a big, and not so much even just the aha moment that you've had, but, think about those times that kind of like the slower seasons where it would be easier to just give up. Like, what is your aha moment that always keeps you going?
Okay. So I wish she was on the call, because we've talked about this a lot. My biggest aha moment kind of started at the beginning of my business, my very first Super Saturday. When I started this business, I was just kind of doing it as a little bit of a hobby. I had an extended maternity leave, and I was going to do it over the summer and just kind of see where it went. And once school came back around, I didn't really plan on keeping going. But the very first Super Saturday that I went to, Candace Olin stood up and started talking and sharing that she worked full time. She was a mom. She had a husband. And it was like, oh my gosh, maybe I can do this. If she can do this, and she works a job that's so much more demanding than I do. She, works so very hard. She still makes time for her family. She still makes time for the things that she wants to do. Maybe I can do this as well. And I just remember going home and talking to my husband and being like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to keep pushing and rising to the occasion and going forward. And I always think of that. I always think of that when I get tired and Wesley's been up all night, or I don't want to send one more invite, or I don't want to do this. And it's like, you know what? Candace has laid this groundwork for me. She's encouraging me. She's done this. I go to her page, I look at her posts, and I remember why I'm doing this, and I keep going forward. So that anybody can do this. She's such an inspiration to me.
Oh, I love that. And she is totally going to have like goosebumps when she listens. I just talked to her before the call and she was going to try to pop on. Obviously she didn't. They were just getting home from their camping weekend and stuff. But that's so true. And I loved how you pointed that out, because each of us, we are in different spots in our business. And I know even for me, I've had a lot of people say, well, I can't do it because I started as a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom, so some people will think that you have to be in this business as a stay-at-home person and not being able to be successful if you're not. And I'm like, no, like that's not it. So I love each of our stories that we get to share and just those little aha moments. So cool. What would be one piece of advice that you would give to our new coaches who are in that analysis paralysis phase right now, where there is a lot of information and you think you need to read through it all? What is your one tip for them in their business?
Keep moving forward. No matter what, keep moving forward. Maybe you have to change the direction that you're going in. Maybe you have to change the steps that you're taking, but no matter what, just keep moving forward.
I love it. Does anybody have any questions for Alden? You can type in the chat. You can feel free to unmute. Everyone is welcome to speak on this call. No questions? Oh, well, hey, I actually want everybody to type in the chat. Oh, wait, hold on. We do have one from Gina. Gina said, Alden, what do you feel is the most effective way to get your power hour done? That's a great question.
Okay, so I don't have time during the day to dedicate a solid hour. I wish I did, but I get up really early and I stay up as late as I can until I can't anymore. So for my power hour, what's most effective for me is to find those crevices in the day that I can get everything done that I need to. I wake up in the morning, I work out, I work for 20 minutes, then I get dressed and I go to work, and maybe during my lunch break, I'm able to work a little bit. Sometimes I don't get to, but then once all the kids leave and before I go pick up my boys, I sit down and I work for 30 minutes. Or, the time has cut, the further I've gotten into the business, obviously, the more time I'm having to spend. But before I leave, I make sure I get some things marked off my checklist. And then again, after bedtime, I get some more things. So for me, the most effective way is finding those crevices in the day, sticking to them, and getting as much done as I can in that time period.
I love it. That's awesome. And that's so true. You can break it up. You can do it just making it your own priority. This is a priority for you because you have that why, that drive, and that passion that is really just unfolding. So super cool, guys. I love it. Alrighty, well, if there's no more questions, I would love to see everybody type in the chat, great job, Alden, because, girl, like, you did awesome, and I love these kind of reality checks, really, because we're all at different stages, and it's inspirational at each step of the way, and don't ever be afraid to share you. Be unapologetically you guys, because you are all meant for more. The only people who fail are the ones who give up. And it shows a lot that you're on this call. Look at all these comments. This is what I love about our team. Our culture is just awesome. But we just don't give up. And we're here for each other. We're solid. We have this foundation. And it's just created through just why we're here, the stepping stones that we're doing, and moving forward, hitting that Success Club goal every month, because that is the first basis of then taking your business, then your rank advancing, and we focus on that leadership ladder, and it all stems back to that deeper why and why we're helping people. So super cool. Love this. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your Monday night to be on with us. I really appreciate it. It also, our Emerald calls is tomorrow, every Tuesday, so I want to give a reminder of that. I'll be posting the link tomorrow, but other than that, guys, have a great night and go crush some goals. What's up, Jamie? I see you creeping. Bye, guys.